Paris to 3 a.m. The world's most visited museum stood silent under rain-washed lights. Somewhere beyond the glass of the Napoleon III apartments, motion sensors blinked red and then died. By sunrise, a glass display was shattered. Gone. A 19th century diamond emerald collection worth $15 million. No alarms. No witnesses. Just perfect absence. The Louvre called it an internal malfunction. But investigators quickly realized whoever did this knew every blind spot, every shift rotation, every door that didn't log an entry. And then came the chilling part. A guard's ID badge recorded movement hours after he'd already gone home. This wasn't theft for money. It was a message because someone wanted the world to know even the Louvre can bleed. At 7:42 a.m., a cleaner unlocked the side entrance to the Louvre's Richelieu wing. She expected silence, dust, and marble. Instead, she found broken glass glittering like frost beneath the display of the Duchesse de Montpensier emerald set, a 19th century collection that once belonged to French royalty. Within minutes, alarms that hadn't sounded all night suddenly shrieked to life. Police arrived at 7:58. Their first observation, no forced entry. Every door, lock, and latch remained intact. Security feeds from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. were corrupted, a static gray loop with no time stamps. It looked deliberate, almost surgical. Investigators quickly ruled out a smash and grab. Whoever entered knew exactly which circuit breakers to disable, which gallery cameras were offline for maintenance, and which guards rotated through each hall. Someone had mapped the museum's nervous system. The theft was timed perfectly between patrols, a 7-minute window. 7 minutes to cross 2 security zones, reach a bulletproof display, remove jewels, reseal the casing, and vanish without trace. When detectives checked employee key cards, one name appeared twice: Etienne Morel, night guard for the Richelieu corridor. His badge had been used at 3:13 a.m. and again at 5:02 a.m., but his home CCTV showed him asleep in bed. Rumors spread instantly. Some claimed an international art crime syndicate. Others whispered inside job, blackmail, or even government cover-up. But there was something stranger. Nothing else was touched. Paintings worth hundreds of millions sat untouched beside the empty case. To the thieves, this wasn't about profit. It was about access, proving that even the world's most secure museum could be entered like a storybook. And somewhere in Paris, as dawn painted the Seine in cold gold, someone unwrapped emeralds still smelling faintly of museum air and smiled. Within 48 hours, French investigators admitted what they'd avoided saying aloud. The Louvre heist wasn't random. Someone inside had helped. The security blueprints were restricted to only 6 senior staff. Yet the thief moved through the museum like someone who'd memorized every corridor. Detectives began interviewing guards, restorers, and overnight engineers. No one cracked, but one name kept reappearing: Etienne Morel. His colleagues described him as quiet, punctual, loyal, almost too loyal. For 15 years he'd watched over the same halls, never missing a shift, but 3 months before the robbery, he'd requested a sudden transfer to the Richelieu wing, the exact route the thief used. When questioned, Etienne said it was for health reasons. Investigators found something else: a single payment of 40,000 euros. deposited into his account from an offshore company in Malta. When they confronted him, he didn't deny it. He just said it was for a painting. No such painting existed. By week's end, the media called it Le Volume du Fantôme, the ghost theft. Rumors grew that Morel wasn't working alone. 2 technicians from an external maintenance firm vanished after the heist, leaving their Paris apartments emptied overnight. Interpol traced Malta payment through 6 shell companies, all dissolved within 72 hours. Meanwhile, Louvre officials tightened access, replaced the entire security team, and issued a press statement insisting the museum was completely secure. But inside the investigation, one detective wrote in his logbook, "Security doesn't fail this cleanly unless someone builds the failure." It wasn't about stealing art. It was about building a perfect demonstration, a blueprint showing how to break a fortress from within. And the terrifying part? Whoever orchestrated it hadn't taken anything of sentimental value. They'd taken trust itself. By the 3rd week, French police had exhausted every lead inside Paris. Interpol took over. The stolen emeralds began surfacing, not in pawn shops, but in encrypted darknet auctions. Each piece appeared for just 60 seconds before disappearing again. Buyers used crypto wallets registered in Singapore, Dubai, and Buenos Aires. Whoever ran the operation wasn't selling for profit. They were proving reach. Interpol's cyber forensics team traced the listings to a closed server belonging to a known art trafficking network, the Rook Circle, a collective tied to more than 20 museum thefts since 2012. They didn't steal to own. They stole to remind the world that culture could be taken hostage. An agent named Claire Rousseau led the pursuit. In 2021, she'd infiltrated a forgery ring in Prague. This time, she followed the digital breadcrumbs to an anonymous warehouse near Marseille. Inside, crates labeled as restoration supplies, filled with empty jewel mounts and glass fragments matching the Louvre display, but the jewels weren't there. What she found instead was worse, a printed photograph of Etienne Morel, circled in red ink, pinned to the wall beside a Louvre floor plan, and beneath it, 3 words written in French, Phase du Venice. Within hours, the warehouse burned to the ground. No prints, no CCTV, just ashes, melted glass, and a single emerald fragment recovered from the debris. Proof the pieces had been there. Claire told reporters, "They want us to know they exist." To the public, the case was fading, but to investigators it was mutating. The Louvre heist was never a single crime. It was a rehearsal, the first act of something larger, spreading quietly across Europe's most guarded museums. Venice, 2 months later, tourists crowded the canals, unaware that another museum, the Galleria dell'Accademia, had quietly shut its eastern wing for maintenance. Behind the sealed doors, Italian authorities stood over an empty pedestal. The missing piece this time, Caravaggio's Saint Catherine, valued at nearly 50 million euros. No alarms, no witnesses, same 7-minute window. Interpol's Claire Rousseau arrived within hours. The theft mirrored the Louvre heist in every technical detail: camera blackout, duplicate keycard access, and a looped motion sensor. But there was something else. A note slipped beneath the pedestal. It read, "The world watches art. We watch the world." Signed with a rook symbol in black ink, Claire realized Phase du Venice wasn't a threat. It was a schedule, through cross-border data logs. She tracked communications between Malta, Hong Kong, and a shipping firm registered in Geneva, all linked to one benefactor, the Raven Group, a private intelligence contractor known for handling high-risk cultural assets. Their board included former diplomats, cybersecurity experts, and one ex-Louvre administrator who vanished after the first heist. When Italian police raided a Raven Group facility outside Padua, they found security vaults filled with unregistered artifacts, paintings, scrolls, relics, all cataloged by location. As if the group had been scanning Europe's memory, Claire described it best. This isn't theft anymore. It's archaeology for power. That night, she sent a single encrypted message to her Paris office. They're preparing Phase 3. The coordinates attached led back to the Seine. Paris, midnight rain over the Seine. The city that birthed beauty was now being dissected like a body. Every museum received an anonymous email with the same attachment, a digital rook. Time stamped 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. Subject line. Phase 3. Inside the Louvre. Claire Rousseau stood beneath the same skylight where the first theft began. She'd been warned not to return, officially suspended for compromising an ongoing investigation. Unofficially, she was the only one still looking. The skylight was already open. A single rope hung down from the ceiling, swaying gently in the wind. On the marble floor below, an empty museum badge. Etienne Morel's, but he was supposed to be in custody. Security feeds flickered and died, one by one, across the city. Lights dimmed in synchronized intervals, museum after museum falling dark. Claire's phone buzzed, a video link. She opened it. Dozens of art pieces. Caravaggio, Vermeer, Monet, arranged in a secret gallery lit by candles, and standing before them, a masked figure with a rook insignia embroidered on his coat. His voice was modulated, mechanical. We don't steal art for money. We steal it because history belongs to whoever can erase it first. Behind him, the priceless works began to burn. The feed cut out. Fire alarms wailed across Paris. By dawn, smoke rose over the Louvre, curling through the same skylight that once framed the stars. The ghost theft had come home. When authorities entered the ruins, nothing remained but ash and a single melted camera lens, pointed upward, as if it had been recording heaven in Claire's final report. She wrote, maybe it was never about theft. Maybe it was about proof that even beauty can disappear without a sound. Weeks after the fire, Paris smelled of rain and smoke. Tourists came back. The Louvre reopened its west wing, its press release reading, "Reconstruction is restoration. Beauty is resilient." But beneath the polished marble, a new rumor began to spread. Someone had found a hidden digital vault inside Interpol's own servers, labeled simply archive_0, encrypted. Untouched inside were thousands of photographs, every stolen painting, sculpture, jewel, all perfectly scanned before they vanished. Someone had copied the world's art before stealing it. Claire Rousseau returned to her apartment on Rue Saint-Dominique, sleepless, studying the images in silence. Each file bore the same metadata tag, Etienne_Morel, Phase_0. The Louvre guard hadn't been a scapegoat. He'd been the architect. He'd built an underground collective to preserve humanity's beauty by taking it away before governments could censor or sell it. The Rook Circle wasn't stealing, it was archiving. Digitally, eternally, in one recovered video. Etienne's voice plays through static. Every empire collapses, but pixels don't. When they burn the originals, someone must remember the colors. For a long time, Claire watched the footage, the emeralds glinting, Caravaggio's shadows, the final flicker of a flame. Then she deleted the vault. One by one, in her final note, she wrote, "Beauty is a ghost that must be allowed to haunt, not be caged." The case was closed with no suspects, no evidence, no answers, only whispers of a digital afterlife where art still breathes. Unseen, untouched, waiting, and sometimes, when the Louvre lights flicker past midnight, guards swear they see a faint green glow in the glass, like an emerald remembering what it once was. If you thought the horror ended here, you're wrong. What other dark rituals and forbidden practices are still being performed in secret? Dive deeper into the chilling world of haunted ceremonies, banned footage, and eerie folklore that refuses to stay buried. Click on the playlist to uncover terrifying recordings, lost evidence, and disturbing stories they never wanted you to see. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for weekly uploads of spine-tingling footage and dark tales that echo from the shadows. This is the Forbiddance Archive, where the hidden truth and haunting evidence come to life.